A very good morning to you all as stakeholders. Allow me to welcome you to today's session. It is a pleasure to have you on board today as per the invite that we've extended for us to be able to share with you information. Our purpose for today is quite clear and to the point, which is to guide you through the year 2026-2027 discretionary grants, application requirements, and process. As a merSETA, our mandate is to advance skills development within the manufacturing, engineering, and related services sectors, with the aim of ensuring that there's growth, there's innovation, and opportunities for all the stakeholders. Today's session, we will take you through the full application life cycle, as we've indicated, from eligibility criteria to application submission, and finally to learner registration process. We are positive and we look forward to engaging with you and supporting you throughout the journey in building skills for the future. Allow me to introduce the team, Gauteng South team. As indicated in the slide, the regional office is Gauteng South A, that is managed by Nzoko. We have a list of colleagues, the client liaison officers. Most of them you might be familiar with because they provide service and guide the process with you as their stakeholders. We've got Betty Kekana, we've got Begi Muzi Mdletshe, we've got Peter Muloi, we've got Simon Mbele, we've got Oyama Tozwa, we've got Dora Sohobela, we've got Vikesh Pandey. We are also supported by our admin staff and specialists, Zolile, Nozipo, and Giamuhetu. To those stakeholders that were previously served by Yonela, who has left the organization, allow me to indicate that we'll introduce to you Oyama Kozwa, who has actually taken over from Yonela effective the 1st of June. Official communication will take place as we move along. In terms of the ground rules, we request that we keep our mobile phones on silent during the duration of the session. Stakeholders will be offered an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentations, where stakeholders will be expected to either to raise hand or use the chat function to raise any questions or clarities that might be experienced. Stakeholders are further requested or advised to take notes of the presentation as the colleagues present, and maybe use the title headings to link or to relate your question to the presentations. Be advised that the recording is online and is being recorded for the purpose of reference, but also for the purpose of ensuring that we share the content of the presentations with the stakeholders that are unable to be part of the online session at the moment. The slides will also be presented. There's guidelines that we also have a code that will be able to access, or any other documents that relates or talks to the discretionary grant window that is currently open is available on the merSETA website. We request that stakeholders respect the time in terms of allowing fellow participants ensuring that we keep the contributions focused and on the topic. Should there be any questions that maybe stakeholders are interested on, which are not part of the presentation, you are more than welcome to engage directly at the end of the session. Further to that, the stakeholders will be required to provide feedback in terms of the layout, in terms of the information that would have been shared with stakeholders. And the whole purpose of this exercise is to ensure that we improve as we move forward with the next presentations or with the next skills development forums that will be conducted in the near future. Allow me, colleagues, to introduce our next slide, our next presenter, Mr. Begumuzi Mdleje, who's the client liaison officer, to take us through a process of presenting the following items as presented. Item 3, in terms of the overview of the 26-27 discretionary grants. Item 4, in terms of the application process walkthrough. And item 5, in terms of the portal demonstration. Sit back and relax. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ntogo. Good morning to all the stakeholders out there and the colleagues with us. So as Mr. Ntogo has reiterated to you that I'll be taking over presenting these 3 agendas that are highlighted here, which will be the overview of the discretionary grant for DG 26-27, as well as application process walkthrough and the portal demonstration. So looking at this following slide, we are looking at the overview. I believe that we all have seen the presentation, or should I say the funding window that was placed out for stakeholders to apply. So therefore, if you look at it, the purpose for the funding window is to address the national skills priorities through targets, initiatives, and also to meet DHT targets and ensure the effectiveness of the funds disbursements. So then if you look at on the right-hand side, you will see that the organization has made some amendments to say the funding windows will be categorized in different windows for different entities, such as levy paying, non-levy paying SMEs, skills development providers, as well as public technical vocational, all the way down to special projects and research. So then again, I know for the fact that this one does not have the expiry date. However, the one that you have seen and also are applying on, it has the name. Everyone is open to apply for all the programs, which includes pivotal as well as non-pivotal programs. So with that being said, the current window that is open would be for levy paying employers and non-levy paying employees and SMMEs. And you also need to take note that the submissions need to be submitted via the NSDMS system before the closing date. So with that being said, please, stakeholders, make sure that your application is done in time, because if you do not, if you apply outside of the funding window, what's going to happen is your application will be null and void. So one, in this last point of the slide, I also want to stress this point to say the legacy qualifications will not be considered for learnership and skills programs, meaning that previously last year there were interventions which were pre-2009 qualifications which have expired. So therefore, QCTO has taken over to say these programs have now been expired. So then QCTO has taken over through other interventions. So it is your duty to make sure that you familiarize yourself with the QCTO apprenticeship, learnership programs, and so forth, as well as the QR code, because we do not want to apply for the incorrect things and then we forfeit our application. So moving forward to the second slide number 8. So then here we have taken a liberty to share with you the QR code whereby you will find the guidelines to say how are you going to apply for this DGA 26-27 process. So then again, as you can see there, there is a manual navigation path on the merSETA website, and as well as going to grants, discretionary grants, and the guidelines. So from there, you will see all the guidelines. It is your duty to read the full guidelines before submitting your application to avoid common errors. I believe that this one will make it easier for most of us. Maybe I would say for new clients as well, that will be new on the system. So then we have the guidelines with you. So moving forward to the following slide. Okay, here we're talking about the application processes. Walk through. So yes, in this process, I will just say highlight the process. So there it says applications must be submitted through the official NSDMS portal. There is no other exemptions to say that you've applied in an alternative way. It's either NSDMS or the highway. So make sure that you apply via NSDMS system. So all applications must be submitted in the NSDMS. And then applications that are submitted outside of the funding window. By saying so, I'm talking about the end dates when you can apply. So if you apply outside, then obviously you will forfeit. So it is your duty. So let me take you through the processes here. So we've got 4 processes here, of which means in the application process, there'll be administrative verification and due diligence, whereby you take yourself and align everything that you're going to apply for. Moving forward to the second slide, to the second point will be the technical reviews and evaluations internally at merSETA. Say now, are you qualifying for where they'll be doing the verification process and so forth. So thereafter, that's in the next step, there will be adjudication and recommendations, which will also be another process that will be done internally, scrutinizing your documents as well as checking out your history background to say how were you performing in the previous MOAs and so forth. And then the next step, then the verification would then go to the 4th step, whereby ManCo will take part in terms of approving the outcomes. Correct. So the next one, in the next slide, we are going to be talking about the portal demonstration. So in this case, like I mentioned earlier on, say, in the NSDMS, we gave you that QR code that's got all the guidelines. So in this slide, I will just share with you the important points that need to follow the guidelines wise. So as you can see here, we also got 4 points, whereby number 1 will be logging into the system and navigate. So then what you do is you log into the NSDMS portal as a company, and then the primary SDF will also click the SDF on the navigation menu, and then you go to project portal. I believe we are all aware of that, as well as the supporting documents that you're going to download via the QR code shared earlier on. So then in the next step, you will then select the company that you are working with. As we know, some of the primary SDFs have multiple companies. So in that case, you select the appropriate company that you're applying for. So in this case, you click View Edit for the relevant company, and then both windows will appear as the currently open. So then again, stakeholders, make sure that you apply during your time frame. Then moving forward to step 3. Step 3, this is where you initiate the grant. So when you're initiating the grant, you click on the Initiate Grant tab to begin your application. Then after that, the grant application will open. So when it opens, and then you will move on to the 4th step, whereby you will select the funding window. So in this case, it will be 26 to 27. So under the funding window, you will then select a drop-down menu, and then you choose the window matching your stakeholders type. I believe that we are all in par there. So then again, one more thing, you can also go to the website and go to templates. So under those templates, you will find that there we will have the guidelines as well to say how the application process proceeds. So I believe in this case, colleagues, I believe that in my presentation, my slide is officially done in this case. So then I would like to hand over to Mr. Pandey. Vikesh Pandey will also be taking care of the following. Okay, so then, okay, before we submit to Mr. Pandey, then there is this one last slide that is there. So then in this one, the submitting multiple interventions. So when you are applying for your interventions, you might find that some companies would like to apply for multiple interventions, such as maybe apprentices, learnerships, and so forth, maybe as well as ARPLs and skills programs. So in this case, you need to take into consideration that you need to submit each and the intervention individually, and then you must only sign off once you've completed all the interventions are all captured. So let me take you through the process, how you're going to apply when you're applying for multiple interventions. So if you look at this slide, point number 1, you must complete the interventions first, first. If you're applying for more than one interventions, before proceeding, do not click the sign off button, because if you click off the sign off button, you will then be closing there. You will then be closing your application. So only click submit once all the stages have been done. Then you click sign off your application. Then bullet point number 2, the system will allow you to continue adding further interventions after each submission. So let's say, for an example, you apply for an apprenticeship, you apply, you do the process, and then in the bottom, you will only click submit, and then the system will allow you to go back again and apply for the second one, and then all the way through. So once all the interventions have been captured, you will then click sign off. There is a sign off button in the top tabs, whereby you'll be signing off to say, yes, I have applied for all the interventions, and maybe if you forgot 3 or 5, they're all there. Once you're satisfied, then you will then click off the sign off button. So in this right-hand side, there is an important reminder to say clicking the sign off button before all interventions are captured will finalize the submission, and it will not be able to further interventions, to further add other interventions. So then you need to make sure that you do not make that mistake. So correct submission flow, submit per interventions, repeat each qualification, add the next intervention, and then the system remains open for you to add other interventions, like I've reiterated. So then after that, finally, when you are done, you will then click the sign off button, which will then close your application. Only when all interventions have been captured, then you will click your sign off. So ladies and gentlemen, this is on the next slide. This is the colleague of mine that's going to be taking over which is Mr. Pandey, who will be taking over the following agendas, item number 6, number 7, and number 8, which goes as follows. The capacity requirements required before applying, the compliance documents, as well as the process of final award. Over to you, Mr. Pandey. Thank you so much.
Good morning, stakeholders. As Becky mentioned, I will be covering the following subjects. Item 6, capacity required before you apply for the discretionary grant, your compliance documents that's required for eligibility, and what is our internal process with regards to awarding an MOA. So the capacity required before applying for you yourselves as employers, certain qualifications require a workplace approval, especially your technical qualifications will require you to have a workplace approval. In order to have a workplace approval, you need to have the required mentors for that qualification uploaded onto the system. You will receive a visit from our quality assurance partners who will come through and evaluate your workplace in order to grant you an approval status for that qualification. For the SMEs, not all SMEs will be in a position to qualify for a workplace approval status. However, you are free to enter into an SLA, a service level agreement, or a memorandum of understanding with a skills development provider for off-job training. You can also enter into that agreement with a UCT or merSETA accredited provider. They will ensure that as part of their accreditation, that they have the relevant assessors and moderators uploaded on NSDMS. For yourselves as SDPs, if you apply for a discretionary grant, remember, as an SDP, you may not necessarily have the workplace component. So in that case, you will enter into a service level agreement or a MOU with an employer for on-the-job training. And just remember that the SLA with that employer must ensure that that employer has the necessary workplace approval for the qualification. So let me move on. Okay, in terms of the other eligibility criteria that's relates to compliance documents, these are non-negotiable, unfortunately, and will be required whether you're an employer, SME, or a SDP, to be eligible for discretionary grants. You will need to have a valid, up-to-date BEE certificate or a sworn affidavit. Your entity needs to have legal status in terms of it being registered. You need to have a tax clearance certificate, a current tax clearance certificate for the year within which you are applying. And you should have no outstanding prior compliance issues from prior merSETA funded projects. We've just got a little note at the bottom, conflict of interest. As you may know, for those of you who are returning to put in an application for this window, that when you do receive an MOA, there is a conflict of interest declaration form that also needs to be completed and submitted. We just thought we'll put that in there because it's also part of compliance, but it's the compliance issue after you receive an MOA. Excuse me. I think my colleague Becky mentioned that the NSDMS submission must be done before the closing date. Where you are a QCT or merSETA ETQA SDP applying, you need to have a valid accreditation for that qualification. And the one item at the bottom, banking details, which is critical, it must be on approved status. I will touch further on that in my next slide. Okay, so before you apply, your banking details on NSDMS must be fully verified and approved before any funding can be processed. So step one, if your banking details is on pending sign-off, which means your SDF has uploaded the banking details, the bank letter, all of that onto NSDMS, but the status says pending sign-off, it means that that task is still internal. It means that whoever the CFO, finance manager, executive director, whoever has the user responsibility to confirm that banking details on NSDMS must log in and sign off to verify that it is correct. Then it moves, the status moves on to pending approval. That is on our side. So once it is on pending approval and it remains there for a period of time, which means it hasn't been actioned, please let your CLO know so he can follow up with the department or the unit that does that and ensure that merSETA approves the banking details. As I mentioned, prior to you applying for a discretionary grant, your banking details need to be approved or on approved status on the system. Okay. So there are common application errors. And we find that when we do the first line verification, we see that there's incomplete or missing documentation. For example, you might have uploaded compliance documents in the previous years, but you omitted to do so in the current window, which means that your compliance documents are expired. You have non-matching company names. That happens. We did see that a few times where a company is called something else as opposed to the application. And if you apply for a qualification that requires an accredited provider or a workplace that's a host employer, you need to ensure that you have the SLA with those entities in place. Whilst there is no upload function on the application tabs on NSDMS, you need to have those documents signed off and ready for our verification process. Because when we as the region do the verifications, that question comes up and we would require the SDF or the company contact to provide such information for us to proceed. Then we also have misaligned training programs. Common issues there, as you would know, the pre-2009 qualifications have now been phased out, and there's a host of other legacy qualifications that may or may not be still on NSDMS. Hopefully, they have been taken down, but in some cases, a few may have fell through the cracks, and you might find a legacy qualification that you apply for. Unfortunately, we cannot approve that because that qualification doesn't exist. So ensure that you have the proper application or proper qualifications in your applications. And another one, we had to put this line in here: programs not aligned with priority occupations. Now at the bottom there's a note. It says review merSETA sector priority list or consult with your CLO. Because in some cases, it might seem funny, but we had applications for hairdressing and stuff like that, which obviously falls outside of the merSETA scope. And our duty is to firstly prioritize what appears in our sector skills plan and sector priority list. The other application error is where you use a non-accredited training provider. When I mean non-accredited, we're talking about, remember, accreditation has a lifespan, and sometimes the provider may not update the accreditation status, and it means that the accreditation has expired. So please double check all of that in your SLAs to ensure that when we do the verification, we cover all those aspects and we don't now have to reject the application based on these common application errors. And at the bottom, it says they request current accreditation letters verify with the SETA or QCTO. So if a provider that you want to use or is being approached by a provider to say, let's partner and apply, check with merSETA, check with your CLO to say, hey, I got this provider. Can you check on the system whether the accreditation is current and valid? And we will do that for you. Okay, this is our internal process. This is my final slide. It's a process of how we do the final awarding. Now, this is the current process. I do know that it is in the process of being reevaluated, and there might be some change to it. However, just to give you an idea what happens after you apply. Firstly, there's a first line verification that's done by the region. So the region will conduct the first line evaluations, verification, compliance checks. Based on that, we will award learners based on capacity, the number of learner-mentor ratios, all of that, and the capacity of the workplace to deliver on the training and on the numbers that have been requested. Okay, that basically, once the CLO does the recommendation, it goes through to the regional manager, who will evaluate what we have done and make a further recommendation. Then it gets to the discretionary grant verification DGPCC committee. That might change, as I said, but currently that's the process. They will conduct the first line evaluations, verifications, and compliance again. They will make recommendations aligned with the DG funding window as advertised. And the chairperson of that committee will prepare a report and submit to the DGEC chairperson. It then moves on to the evaluation committee, who will deliberate on that report, ensure the total recommendations remain within the approved budget. Obviously, we have to, when a window opens, there is a budget which is finite. Obviously, we can't process applications that fall outside of that budget. And that committee will prepare a report and recommend the allocation to the adjudication committee, who will adjudicate yet again, take those recommendations from the DGEC and make further recommendations based on if the recommendations were not fair, equitable, or transparent, they will make further recommendations, and they will refer the final allocation to MANCO. It is at that level that your discretionary grant at MANCO will be approved. However, there is another opportunity we afford stakeholders where you receive your approval letter or your rejection letter. You have the right to appeal, and you submit an appeal based on valid reasons as to why you believe you should have been given the numbers that you requested, or why you believe that you should not be rejected. All of that, there is a process of appeals, and that those appeals go through to the DG Appeal and Adjudication Committee, who will deliberate on that application, the appeal application, and make further recommendations to MANCO. At that point, the CLO is not responsible to do any further work because it has been done. The process has completed. CLOs will not be responsible to do further due diligence and revisit the verification, all of that, because it has already went through the first, second, and third line of verification and recommendations. The DGA Grant Appeal and Adjudication Committee will prepare the report and make the final recommendations signed off by all members. And that is the final process of a discretionary grant application and evaluation. Please. Okay, thank you. That was my presentation. I want to welcome my colleague, who's a client liaison administrator, Zolile, and he's going to cover the issues relating to learner registration and issues that come up from time to time there. Thank you. Over to you, Zolile.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, valued stakeholders. I trust you are having a beautiful Friday morning. Today, I'm going to be taking you of learner registration. My name is Zwelile Sikangwe, a client liaison administrator based in Gauteng South A. Today, we're going to be presenting you the requirements for our learner registration process. Okay, I'm going to take you through the first slides, which stipulates that accurate and complete learner registration documentation is critical to avoid delays or rejections. All documents required for learner registration must be submitted via NSDMS. The following slides will detail each document category and its specific requirements. Registrations are emphasized to be submitted within 30 days of the program start, which it is very important to register within 30 days after the learners have commenced their program. Moving to the next slide, I'll take you to the checklist, which involves the ID and the school qualification documents. Certified ID, identity, and qualification documents must meet specific format requirements to be accepted. Firstly, I'll go through the requirements for an ID copy. An ID copy needs to be clear, originally certified copy, with the eyes, nose, and mouth must be clearly visible. ID numbers from the first digit to the 13th digit, they must be clearly visible. A 9 must appear as a 9, not an 8. That's very, very important to pay attention to. If ID card or green smart card, both sides are required, the front and the barcoded side. Color copy is recommended for clearer information. School qualification requirements. School name and stamp must be clearly visible on the eye. The subject, percentages, and grade passed must be indicated on the school qualification. Learner names must match the ID. Should it be that the learner has changed surnames? Mostly, we tend to receive such from married females, whereby their qualification will show their previous surname and the ID will show the current surname. We advise that a marriage certificate be submitted with the change of names or a letter from Home Affairs verifying or clarifying that the particular person has changed their surname or names. For foreign qualifications, a SAQA verification letter is required, whereby the qualification will be submitted to SAQA for verification. For example, a qualification from foreign countries needs be Cambridge University, University of Lesotho. A letter from QCTO or from SAQA is required for verification. Certified copy with the Commissioner of Oath. Statement of results is accepted for grade 12. Learner name discrepancies must be resolved with supporting documentation before submission, meaning whereby where the learner has changed their surnames, their documents to verify that information will need to be submitted together with the information. For instance, that document can be attached together with an ID since there is no portal on the system to upload that specific document. Moving on to the next slide. We'll take you through the requirements of an acceptable affidavit and employment contract. An affidavit is accepted for learners from grade 9 to 11, and all learners must provide a valid employment contract. An affidavit for grade 9 to 11 only, which that leaves out an affidavit for grade 12. A grade 12 affidavit is not accepted. An affidavit must include learner names, the address, and ID. It must further include the school name, the year the grade was passed, the grade the learner passed, and all the subjects the learner has passed. And a SEPS template must be used in submitting the affidavit, specifically from South African Police Services, not a Commissioners of Oath, so that we can verify to make sure that all the information submitted is true. As for employment contracts for all the learners, both unemployed and employed learners, employment contracts or letter confirming employment on company letterhead. It must clearly be visible, the company letterhead, which will include the company contact details, the address, and so forth. And it must include the date that the letter was generated and include designation of signatories. It must include the learner details, which will be the names, the learner ID number, and the qualification the learner is enrolling for. For both employed and unemployed learners, start and end date of the program, it is very, very important that it's clearly visible on the letter submitted confirming the employment of the learner. For instance, for unemployed learners, a letter can be provided to state that these learners are only employed for the purpose of the qualification, meaning they are employed for a fixed term contract, which will have a start and an end date. For employed learners, that contract that will be submitted, it might be a contract which the employer was initially employed with from the company, but we further advise that a confirmation of employment letter is acceptable, as it will state that the person is permanently employed and they have been enrolled in this particular program, which will run for a specific period of time, which will start from this time to the end date. But it must clearly state that this person is permanently employed, unless otherwise the person is employed only for the purpose of the qualification. For our skills program, it tends to happen that our system will generate the duration for 12 months. So we strictly advise that as you, our stakeholders, you pay attention to these dates for our skills program. As you know, that skills program will run from 3 months all the way to 6 months. And those dates will tend not to match with the dates on the employment contract. So we advise that you make sure that the dates on the confirmation letter or employment contracts for skills program matches the dates that are populated on the learner registration form. Moving on to the next slide, I will take you to the merSETA learner agreement. The work-based requirements for the agreement of our merSETA. Yes. Okay. The program must include the start date on page 12. Page 12 is a section which specifically states that a start date of the program should be included, and the end date of the program should be included on that page 12. Those dates would be the dates that matches the dates that were populated or provided on the employment contract or employment confirmation letter. For instance, if the learner started on the 1st of April, and the contract is running all the way to the 30th of March the following year, those dates must also reflect on the learner agreement. Learner signature dates must match the program start date. That's highly advisable that the learner signatures on the learner agreement are within the 30 days of the learner starting the program. Meaning if the learner has started the program on the 1st of March, from that date, you have 30 days to register the learner, and the signature date of the learner, it is advised that it becomes exact as the date on the employment contract, or just within the 30 days when the learner has commenced their program. All pages of the merSETA learner agreement must be signed, and no page must be left unsigned or initialed. And then furthermore, we state that the 30-day submission deadline, application must be submitted within 30 days of the program start date. I trust you have found this presentation fruitful, and you'll continue to engage with us and share information. I thank you.
Thanks, colleagues, for the presentations that you've shared with the stakeholders. Stakeholders, thanks for the continuous engagement, the questions that have been posed on the chat, and the team working to ensure that some of them, or most or all of them, are responded to accordingly. Advice provided, guidance provided, and support provided. Keep the questions coming, and we'll do our best to ensure that we respond to each and every question that you ask. But we also give you an opportunity to engage with us beyond the session that we're currently having, as part of ensuring that we advocate our services, we provide guidance, we provide support to you as our stakeholders. Without any further delays, allow me to extend an invite to all the stakeholders for a question and answer session through raising your hands and posing any questions that you might have. As previously indicated on the initial welcome introduction, that keep your questions specific to the presentation. We'll definitely appreciate that, so that the response that is provided is specifically to that question. Anything beyond that, you are more than welcome to engage with us. Now it's time for the colleagues to raise any questions. I see Pretorius. Jeggy? Okay. Jerry Matsimela?
Good day, colleagues. My question is regarding unregistered, or should I say unaccredited, service providers or partners with regards to the discretionary grant. So what about initiatives that were initiated by merSETA, such as the EKM project? Those type of initiatives don't necessarily have an accreditation, but we know that there's a company called GenCraig that does the workshops and the training. So what if we would like to partner with a company that does not necessarily have the necessary accreditation required, because the type of accreditation doesn't exist, but they've experience in the industry regarding specific projects like the special project, the EKM project? What happens there? What if we want to partner with them? Will their discretionary grant application still be rejected, even though there's no accreditation for such a type of project?
Okay, thank you. We'll respond. Let's give Simon Sibanyoni an opportunity.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and good morning to everyone. My question is around the guidelines, on the discretionary grant guidelines that were published, prior to this session that we have today. So the challenge I think that I'm having, that I would need your assistance on, is that, for example, you made mention of one of the speakers mentioned that you do not register for the legacy qualifications anymore. So I'm raising this because I've noted as of Wednesday, this past Wednesday, actually this week Wednesday, in the last 2 days, we've seen the extension of the legacy qualifications, which some of them does include some that we would have applied for. So the concern that I'm having is that for some of us that have applied in the initial closing date of the 30th of May, because of you are having these sessions now after the extension of the discretionary grants application, which is ending on the 30th of June. And at this time, some of us in the organizations where we have applied in the 30th of June, we didn't have this information because on the guidelines itself, it doesn't state that legacy qualifications will not be funded. So in a case where now we've already applied some of the discretionary grants for learning programs or learnership programs that falls under the legacy qualifications, and for those that some were actually even expiring the enrollment date on the 31st of December. So which means we will still align in terms of us having to implement those programs. But with this information that we're getting today, it puts us on a different or difficult situation that we might not be allocated funding, or our discretionary grants might not be approved because of you're saying you're no longer funding legacy qualifications. Yet on the other side, we've seen from the Minister of Higher Education that some have just been extended. So if maybe you can assist us on that, on whether how do we then correct that? Because obviously now we can't even go back to the system to amend and maybe put either some of the programs that are mostly, let's say, the QCTO qualifications. So how do we address those kinds of issues? Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Pretorius, Jackie, and then we'll respond to the first three questions. Jackie, it seems you are not with us. It's fine. Let me allow my colleague to respond on the first question.
Good morning again. I just want to respond to Jerry, who spoke about the EKM project. Now, Jerry, remember the special projects may most normally fall under non-pivotal programs. For this application window, we are speaking about the pivotal programs, of which accreditation will be required for programs that require accreditation and workplaces, etc. However, for the non-pivotal programs that relate to special projects, and here we can speak about the green environment, we can speak about 4IR, we can speak about solar PV technicians, which may not have a qualification registered and accredited as yet. So in those circumstances, accreditation will not be required because firstly, they may not exist, or they may be in the process of being registered. So let's focus on, for this presentation, on the pivotal programs that require them. The non-pivotal special projects, there will be a specific window opening in due course where you can apply with accreditation not being an issue. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Vigesh. On the question from Simon, on the issue of
The extended qualification.
the extended qualification. At the time that the advert went out, the understanding was that the qualification are coming to an end 30 June 2026. And we didn't anticipate this extension. Unfortunately, at the moment, a decision has not been made in terms of whether that will be considered for funding related to the extension that has been granted. We have engaged management. I think we'll also further engage just to get a decision from the side of management as to how this issue will be handled as we move forward, probably before the closing date of this DG window. And I'm of the view that whatever decision is made, such will be communicated to all the stakeholders, whether yes, funding will be made available or not. So currently, we don't have any decision on that one. Thank you. Let's allow Alungile, followed by Retha, and followed by Umbulani. Thank you. Alungile. Okay, Retha.
Good morning. I'm thinking about my question, and I might just revert it. So I wanted to ask a question on a previous MOA that is going to expire, but I think it's something that my CLO needs to assist me with, and that's where I have a problem. I remember, so I'm the STF for 3 companies, and I don't have the same CLOs that we had in the past is not available, or they're not taking emails. I can't get through to merSETA. Which route do you think I must go to get hold of the correct CLO?
If you are not getting any joy from any CLOs, you engage with me. Komotso Nzoko, I'll drop my details on the chat. Including
Okay,
my
thank you so much.
Umbulani, Jade will also give you an opportunity in the absence of a question from Alungile, just after Umbulani.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. So my first question, I will refer it to the, actually, I will be dealing on the learner registration. The first question is regarding to the change of surname, that is the affidavit not acceptable anymore. And then the second question, it's the effective date of these changes which we saw that are happening under the learner registrations, because we have a lot of learners from our company who are not yet registered, and then you find that they are affected by something which was presented now, but then the learners have been loaded on the system long time ago. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good day, Humbulane. Humbulane, with regards to the change of surname, an affidavit has never been a requirement for that. For a change of surname, a letter from Home Affairs or merit certificate has always been a requirement. It's only for a correction of name, not surname, where an affidavit can be requested. And then other than that, change of surname will require a merit certificate or a letter from Home Affairs. And affidavit is only applicable for a change of name or the misspelling of a name, which can be supplied through an affidavit from SEPS. And then your other question was, if you may kindly repeat, Auskia will take you through that question.
Okay, the other question, I said I want to know when is the effective date of the other changes of putting the maybe to be specific, of putting the date on the learner agreement on page 12, because these changes to us are coming now, and we have a lot of learners who were uploaded on the system before these changes. So I want to know the effective date.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Humbulani. There was communication that went out to the stakeholders around the end of March. So basically the effective date was the 1st of April 2026. However, the communication went out to all the SDFs that are registered, are active on the system, on the changes that were taking place on the system. But basically it was through an extract that was coming through from the Gazette of 2018 that guides us on how we should actually do the registration of the learners. Maybe if we can go back onto that communique, but it has been outlined that from the 1st of April, those effective, and this has come through, and the reason I'm saying that it is coming from 2018 is because maybe we have sort of been lenient on our side, and as a result has led us into those findings, and that is why we are being more strict on those requirements and referring back to the Gazette that has come through back then in 2018. But there was communication to all the stakeholders on the changes that are taking place. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Gia. Jade, Esha, and Kumara. Over to you.
Is Jade going first?
Yes.
Morning, can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me? Okay. Hello everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I have a question on mentorships. So I'd like to know, does mentorships, like any mentorship program, qualify for discretionary funding? And if so, which costs related to mentorships are covered under this grant? Thank you.
Thank you. Isha?
So I just want, my first statement is just that, a statement. If we could get clarity on the legacy qualification sooner rather than later, because a lot of our applications are dependent on legacy qualifications. So if we could please get that earlier, and then if it is not going to be allowed, are we going to be allowed at least in the next week to be able to amend our applications? If not, that's going to prejudice us quite a lot. And then secondly is the compliance document. So you require a valid BEE certificate. Our BEE, when I made the application in the original window, my BEE certificate was still valid. It's coming to, it's expiring in the last week of June, and I'm in verification right now. So how do I deal with that?
All right, thank you. Kumaran? Come through. Okay, we pass. Maybe let's respond to the two questions. Vigesh, take the mentor one. And,
Thank you, Komoso. Jade, I just wanted to find out, when you speak about mentorship, because our understanding of mentors are they are the subject matter experts that will do the on-site mentorship of a learner that's linked to the same qualification. So those mentors will typically be qualified artisans or qualified engineers or people in the same field of expertise that will mentor learners. But when you are speaking about mentorship, we don't actually have a qualification or a funding mechanism for mentorship. However, we do have something called internships, where learners from institutions are taken on and afforded a 1 or 2 year internship program, of which we fund. So I hope that answers your question with regards to mentorship, as we call them, or as we know them being internships.
thank you.
Legacy that we can't do this.
All right, on the question from, I think it was not Sid, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jay, did you ask the question about what if you've already applied for a qualification that has or it's imminently going to be expired? However, you didn't have this information when the window initially opened. Did you have that question?
It was Ethan.
Hi there. No, I didn't ask that question. My question was on the mentorships.
Oh, we got it.
No,
It was
that's my
Ethan.
question,
But we'll,
Isha.
yeah, we'll respond to that. I think it was Ethan.
Okay. All right, Isha. What we can do from our side, because it's also a bit of our fault as well that we're having this session when certain entities such as yourselves have already lodged the application and the window is now closed. But for you, the application. So what we can undertake, and you just need to keep in contact with your CLO regarding the progress thereof. We can request internally for our MIS department or IT department to reopen the window for you so that you can go in and amend your application. And I think that goes for everyone as well who believes that they may have signed off on the application only to now realize that the qualification has expired or it's due to be expired prior to you even implementing. And remember, even if you do begin to implement, the qualification will not be there for you to register learners. So my suggestion to all those stakeholders who are in the same boat, to send the name and levy number, send the name of the company and levy number to your CLO, and we will escalate that to MIS to temporarily open the window for you. Obviously, that has to be done now. That can't be done after the closing of the window, which is after the 30th of June. So it has to be done now for IT or MIS temporarily.
So that's not my question. My question is that the legacy qualification has now been extended. So, so that should allow us to continue for another 24 months.
Correct. Sorry, I misunderstood you. Yes, if the qualification has been extended, the application remains, and should your verification results yield positive results, you will be allowed to be funded for that.
All right, thank you. That answers. And then I just wanted clarity on the BEE certificate.
Yeah, at the time of application, if that BBB certificate was valid, I think you'd mention of it's expiring 30 June.
Yes.
Yeah, at the time that the application is open, you'll use it. If it expired in May, unfortunately, you can't. But if it's still valid until the 30th of June, yes, use that one.
All right, that's because, like I said, I applied in that first period, and obviously I cannot make any changes to my application right now. I do have an in-verification letter, but I can't even upload it.
Okay. Just drop me an email. I'll drop my contacts on the chat.
Thank you, Simon.
Terence Sifiso, and I see Alu hand. Sifiso?
Oh, thank you. It's Terence.
Oh, Terence, yeah. And then Sifiso and somebody from Sekunjalo Metals.
Okay. My SDF registration application was rejected due to an appointment letter. I have since corrected the document, but the portal is no longer open for resubmission. And I did send some emails to some of the colleagues, I think within the MC, to the SETA itself, to say, please reopen the portal for me so that I can be able to upload the new document. But up until today, nothing has happened. I think I even spoken to Mr. Muloy, I think, yeah, the liaison officer, and so to speed up the process. But up until today, they still have not get any joy. I'm not sure who can assist me with this.
Mr. Mulo will assist. He will get the MIS through the relevant unit to give you an access to upload. That will be done.
Yeah, because all I want is that they must just reject that one so that I can be able to upload the new document as per your requirement.
Okay. And Datumolo is in attendance. Will ensure that we act on that particular query and get it open for upload. Segunjalo and Segunjalo and Farouk.
Good day, Tim. Can you hear me on your side?
Yes.
Okay, my question is on the
From your side, if you are not asking any questions.
It's Alungile. I am asking a question, sir. Can I continue?
Okay, continue, Alungile.
Okay, my question is on the side of learner registration. We are a training provider which is accredited by QCTO for National Occupational Certificate in Health and Safety Officer. So now we've been approached by an employer who got a funding from merSETA for this qualification, and this qualification falls under HWSETA. So now we've approached QCTO. They gave us a go-ahead to register these learners. And then now we will have also to register the learners with merSETA. So now we don't know whether the workplace approval will be needed when we are registering these learners, as the employer is not workplace approved. If it is needed, who must do it?
Okay. Wait for it. Let's take Farouk. No, before Farouk, let's take Sfiso, are you there? All right, let's take Segunjalo.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, Sfiso Segunjalo. Sfiso Segunjalo. And then we'll respond to the questions.
Okay, morning, colleagues. My question, colleagues, is with regard to a system. One of my client accidentally loaded e-learning intervention, but a motor mechanic, not the new OC. And then he submitted. Then is it any chance for him and merSETA to allow him to rectify that? Thank you, sir.
My question is it on application or on registration? Application for a funding or on registration when you are registering the learners?
No, application.
Okay.
Application for funding or the application for a learner to be registered?
No, application for funding. He
Okay.
accidentally used the old motor mechanic code instead of the OC.
The similar question is everybody who's saying they've applied for a legacy.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes, in
will
short.
get feedback from.
Okay.
Thank you, Betty.
Thank you. Farouk? Oh, sorry. Segunjalo.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I just wanted to gain some clarity on the tranche payments, especially the first tranche, in terms of when does the first tranche get paid? Because according to our understanding, it is when you have submitted documentation of the learners and they've been uploaded onto the system. So if they have been uploaded and this, for example, has been in March already, but until to date, the tranche has not been paid, what do we do in a case like that? Thank you.
Thank you. Farouk? All right, let's respond to the questions. The latest one being the T1 payment. Maybe the question is, has a claim been made on T1?
Yes, a claim has been submitted.
Okay.
Well, according to what we know, the claim has been submitted, yes.
All right. If a claim has been submitted and then the CLO needs to fast track that process, maybe the question is, we'll get the name of the CLO, and then maybe let's take the process forward in terms of why we are still sitting with a claim that you've made already from your side, just to get an understanding as to whether it was already has it been submitted already to PI for it to be committed or for it to be paid. If it has, maybe the delay might have been from their side. But as soon as
sorry, I wanted to know if we could have, if there's an alternative CLO perhaps that we could contact in terms of that, because when we make communication about that and ask questions, we do not receive a response on our side.
Okay, you'll have a response from me. Drop me a chat, an email with your subject line, CLO replacement or something. And then I'll schedule an engagement with you and whoever the CLO is and find a way forward. So that's the question of the claim. So we'll address to that. Let's attend to the first.
Thank you.
Alungile, thank you. You're welcome. Alungile, your response on the question that you posed. Yeah.
Thank you, Alungile. If I wrote your question down correctly, you say that the occupational certificate health and safety officer is registered with HWSETA, correct? What is HWSETA's stance on that with regards to qualified mentors and workplace approval? Because if that is a requirement, then what you would need to do for the merSETA side of registration, you would need to load the relevant mentors, who could be your health and safety officer or health or people who have done that qualification previously or have the necessary skills and experience over a period of time for them to stand in as mentors, because that's a new qualification and it may not be possible to get a person that has already graduated there. So if the workplace approval is a requirement, load those mentors onto the merSETA NSDMS, and once the mentors are approved, you need to apply for workplace approval. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you've answered my question. Thank you.
Farouk? Asaf?
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry to join this the meeting late. I forgot to register. I'm sorry about that. My question here, I think all the questions that have been asked, Mr. Nsoko, you totally hear that those have been my questions since the past weeks. But I need to find out right now with this new application that I have the SDP. With the SDP that I have is the SDP that has the workplace approved host employers whom I have taken advantage of with the previous MOA, where some of the learners are being placed under those host employers. Therefore, for now, with this application, I am intending to use the host employers under that SDP. How do I go about? Is it actually acceptable, or what is it that I would need to do to actually show that we do have the host employers, but through the SDP? That will be my first question.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes,
I lost you there due to network. Yeah. Just repeat that question.
I am saying through my SDP, my SDP has the whole lot of host employers that are registered and they are having the MOAs and the MOUs with. And we are intending to use the host employers with respect to the applications that we have done. Just for example, like the diesel mechanic and all that. With the SDP has the host employers that are attached to them, which now the learners that are being applied for and are going to be taught by that SDP can be or will be put under those host employers that are having agreements with the SDP. Now I'm saying as an SDF, how do I show that I have the host employers to merSETA? Do you get me?
Okay, thanks. Farouk? Farouk?
Nobody's saying anything.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, I Yes, I heard your question. It's just that I had an issue with the network. So I acknowledge that
Mr. Nsoko, your connection is terrible. I can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I was saying
No, still the connection is not right.
hello.
Yes, Mr.
Hello?
Nsoko. Yes, Mr. Nsoko.
Thank you. Network issues. No, I was saying I acknowledge your question. You will respond. We had another hand. Let's. Alungile, do you have a follow-up question? Or it's an old hand?
Yeah,
I would
actually,
like to get
I
there.
have the follow-up. I said that was my first question regarding the
Oh, it's your
host
first.
employers that we get via the SDP.
Okay.
Then my second question would be that we know that the policy of merSETA regarding the mentors is that the mentor would have to be qualified for over 2 years at least, for that person to qualify as a mentor. Now, what about those people who've got their trade certificates through the ARPL? Because we would take that those people who, it is my just thinking, not to say my understanding. My thinking would be that those people would have had more than 3 years of experience in terms of the field that they'll be trade tested through via ARPL. Do those people still have to wait for 2 years, or their qualification wait for 2 years for them to become mentors, even though they had more than 3 years experience? I just want to find that one out.
Okay. Vicky will take your first question, and Betty will take the second.
Okay.
Before that, let's allow Conradi.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I just want to latch on with the earlier question about mentorship. I do see that you fund candidacy programs or candidates. Isn't that also, because in the engineering space, we have engineers that need to register as professional engineers by working in a workplace where we don't employ them, we want to mentor them. And my question is, will a candidacy program cover that? Will an internship program cover that, like answered earlier? Because we're also unsure where to apply for funding for the mentorship for engineering practitioners.
Okay, thank you. Let me allow Vicky and Betty to respond, and one colleague will respond to the question of candidates. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Shoba. Bongani, it's Vikesh here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Vikesh.
Okay, thank you, thank you. And we can speak further on this issue outside of the session as well. But just your question, right? You have accredited SDPs that have accreditation for various qualifications, including the occupational qualifications, and they have memorandums of understandings or SLAs with workplace approved host employers, right? That's perfect. However, what we need to bear in mind is the the numbers that we're taking on, because the mentor-learner ratio at the workplace can become an issue, especially if you have pipeline students that are already there, right? Where maybe just an additional student might breach that mentor ratio. So we need to make sure that the mentor-learner ratio is abided by. If need be, from the side of the host employer, they can always load in more mentors for approval. I hope that answers your question. And Betty, are you going to take the next question regarding mentors, the 2 years and versus the ARB graduates?
Mr. Shoba, for as long as right now all our mentors are going to be linked to occupational workplace approvals. So if we are going to be linked to an occupational workplace approval, we do not wait for them to have 3 years experience. All mentors, when you load them, for as long as they are linked to an occupational qualification, they do not need to wait for the 3-year period. And then, did it answer your question?
Yeah, I just want to get clarity. Are you saying to me it is not separate now? Any a person that is qualified for a trade now, say for instance, 3 months ago, and is linked to that occupational qualification, that person can become a mentor. Doesn't have to wait for 2 years.
Yes.
Across the board.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On the question from Conradi, yes, these grants are open also for candidacy, and yes, we do have an intervention or targets that we aim to achieve this target. As you've indicated, you've got engineers who might have interest to be developed as professional engineers, and yes, this intervention we have. The window is open also for them to apply, or for you to apply for candidacy programs and internships. Thanks. Let's move to the next. Akshani.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's Akshani. Yes, hi, everyone. Yes, correct, Akshani. My question is also related to the mentorships. So currently, I need to get some feedback from my manager, but we are concentrating on the mentorships. And you did mention that it's related to internships. So who would be the correct person to contact? Would it be Vikesh or Betty? And can we get phone numbers? Because what we do find is that it's quite difficult to get hold of specific people. And, our feedback is delayed in terms of applications and so forth.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe share the L number that will indicate as to who's the allocated CLO. Should that be the case, a case where you don't have an assigned CLO, we'll assign one for you. Share the L number and just indicate the subject CLO request.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Asia.
Sorry, our names were so similar, right? Hello, and thank you for the session. I just wanted to find out now with the DG grants that I've already applied for, do I have to wait for the MOA before I start registering my learners? Because in the past, it takes forever for the learners to be registered, and I've already selected which learners are going to be on this 2027 DG, and we're already in June. So I thought to make the process easier, I would go into the NSDMS system and load them on in the meantime. But I'm not sure, do I have to wait for the MOA or can I continue?
Wait.
Yeah, you'll need to wait for the MOA to be issued.
Funding is not guaranteed.
Because they are not guaranteed.
So I'm not allowed to register, I need to wait. Okay, and then the other question I have, we are nearing our BBBE audit. So how soon can we receive our approvals for the mandatory grant? Because as you know, for BBBE, they require that document from merSETA.
Okay, as soon as the window is closed, the process of evaluation happens. It has already started, and will definitely await the due date once we close, and it will be full
But
force.
is the mandatory grant already closed?
Or
So
are you
are you
saying
waiting for the
mandatory?
DG? Are you waiting for the DG grants to close? Now, you know, so for your triple B verification, they need the approval for the year that you've done, like now. So you need your mandatory grant approval. So I'm not sure when is merSETA going to release that, because we're due to have an audit pretty soon.
All right, my apologies. I was thinking discretionary.
No,
Mandatory.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
mandatory. Yeah, that process is currently happening. There's quite a few entities that have been approved, but there's a lot of companies who have not signed. They applied on the system, but the application remains incomplete. We
No,
do have
mine was signed. Mine was signed by
Yeah,
me
no,
and the
it's fine. It's
employee.
fine.
SCF. So how long should I just check with my CLO if I'm going to get the approval soon, or can I speed it up somehow so we don't
All
miss
right.
the triple B audit date?
All right.
For your triple BEE, ma'am, you can use your the proof that you have submitted the mandatory grants.
So they're
Like,
very
just
sticky.
to know
They
that
insist that
you
they
have-
need
you
the
have-
approval.
Come again.
So I did try that last year, and they were very sticky, and then eventually I had to call my CLO to get it, because they require that physical document from merSETA where it says your mandatory grant has either been approved or not. They need that specific letter.
On that side, what it means, so you need to contact your CLO when your auditors come, so that you can get the actual approval if it has already been approved.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Let's allow Jeanette. Jeanette. Jeanette and Neo come through. Just unmute Jeanette. Jeanette. Stembiso, do you have is it Stembiso?
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand up. This is Janet, so I'm not sure if I'm the only Janet in the meeting or there's another Janet.
Yeah. Jeanette Ratete.
No, I didn't raise
thank
my
you.
hand up.
All right, thank you. There you go. You raised its drop. Thank you. Sfiso, is there follow-up question? And Humbulan, is there follow-up question?
Yes, Menier. It's with regard to the SME 3 years within the trade versus what Betty is saying now. It sounds as if there's a change in legislation from NAMB or QTCO, but what I'm aware of is 3 years within the trade. Please, can you guys share with us where it says, or a document that's going to assist us? For example, there's one colleague who said even the guy qualified 3 months back, and she said, yes, that one can be an SME for occupational qualification. Please, merSETA, help us with the documentation that proves, that says, yes, that person who qualified 3 months back, he can be an SME. Thank you.
I'll allow Vigesh to respond to it directly.
Hello, Sibiso. Yes, Betty is correct.
Yes, my homeboy.
Yes, how are you?
Fine.
Yes, Sibiso, as per the new QCTO regulations, specifically relating to occupational programs, there is a QCTO mentor guideline. We will try to get it for you from our quality assurance, or you can go to the QCTO site and download it. But that basically specifies that the 2 year, 3 year, or whatever the post qualification experience, what it was, it doesn't, it's not required anymore. So a person on graduation of the trade test or the qualification, that person can be a mentor. There is a guideline. It's on the QCTO website. Alternatively, drop us an email and we will try to get it internally for you.
Thanks, Vikesh. Thanks, Vicky.
Thank you. Humbolani, do you have a follow-up question?
Yes, I do. And mine is similar to that one which was just asked now, because we are sitting with the mentors which were uploaded, and then they were also uploaded under this occupational qualification, but then they were rejected because I'm aware that now that years of experience, they are no longer considered. So we did uploaded the mentors, but then they were rejected. So I just wanted to check, maybe even me, there's an email wherein you can say that I must send you those mentors who were rejected because of the years of experience. Thank you.
Yes, Ambulani, please send that to your CLO, who can follow up with quality assurance as to why they were rejected.
Okay, thank you so much, Vikesh.
Do we have Liam?
Yes. I'm getting conflicting advice here. Is the business admin NQF4 qualification legacy extended or not? And if so, would I still get funding or not?
Did you respond, Sam?
Yeah, I said it was, we don't know because it's a service seeker. She was asking the same question on the chat.
Leanne, you can check on the services seekers website for qualifications that they've extended on their profiles. You can get a clear detail whether it has been extended or it has been scrapped out.
All right. But my question really lays in you saying you're not considering legacy qualifications. Does that mean only expired ones? Those extended, we will get funding.
Yeah, remember I said we did raise the issue with the executive, and we await a decision on that because at the time that the window was open, the understanding was that the qualification will come to an end 30 June. And if they are expiring 30 June, there's no way that you can apply for those grants, because beyond June they won't be applicable. So
I need to actually ask for the window to be opened and change my application is essentially what you're telling me.
No, as I'm saying, it's a decision by executive. Unfortunately, I can't say yes, we'll open the window. Let's have an engagement and direction from executive, and we'll communicate.
Yeah, but 30th of June is here. I need to understand what to do.
We understand the frustrations and your frustrations. We do all we can to ensure that before that, that decision is made. And we do understand those challenges.
And you'll communicate to us all.
Yes, we'll do that.
Thank you.
Who's the CLO?
Joshua.
Okay. Yeah, it's in another region. It's fine. Thank you. Is there follow-up? We are approaching, it's 11:53. Would like to maybe take the last three questions. Let me take, I see Bongani and Asaf. I'm not sure if he's the same person, but let's allow Bongani.
Yeah, it's the same person.
Oh, so you raised two hands.
Yeah, I'm all over the show.
All right. No, I see.
Yeah.
I see. My apologies. It's Bongi, not Bongani. Let's allow Asaf, and then we'll take Bongi. Thank you.
It's just, and Soko, I just want to make a follow-up on this one. And I know my suggestion, it relies with the executive. That the MOAs that we got last year, the 2026 ones, they were not specific to the name of the skills program or learnership program, whether it's welding or it's motor mechanics and all that stuff. Because with this shifting of expiry of legacy programs and all that stuff, would you not suggest to the executive that if it happens that we are granted or awarded, or whoever that is awarded the program, that MOA should not stipulate exactly to say welding or whatever, just to avoid the legacy confusion and all that stuff. That because I know that when you put onto that MOA, you would actually put the qualification that is not expired. I don't know, because I'm just actually taking from the 2026 ones that they were not specific to a skills program. It would say 10 learners for a skills program. Then you as an SDF or a company would put the very whatever skills program that is appropriate.
Okay, thanks.
Can I please answer you? On your application, you have specified which interventions you're going to undertake. So yes. You have applied, and then we're saying, well, that we are trying to run away from the you've applied for a welder or a legacy welder, but you are actually implementing occupational. So we just say we need an occupational certificate or an apprentice, and then you have to use the current one because you know you cannot register on the old qualification. That is the reason why we were moving away from actually putting codes and actually showing which intervention you need to implement. But whenever you implement, after you implement, we go back to our application. Because we don't want you to say, I've been awarded skills program, and you go do a skills program for hairdressing, which does not answer to our sectors.
Okay.
Yes, you understand.
No, I understand fully, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dateshova. And yeah, I hope you won't be one of those that have been issued welding and you go and do hairdressing.
Okay.
Bongi,
continue the meeting.
Bongi, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bongi. I am an SDF for a company called Sina Windows. Sina Windows, we applied for the DG funding, I think in 2023, and they were awarded, and the training was implemented, the learners were registered. This company, when we did the training, I think it was still Matsiriso was the CLO. And then something had to be done once we had registered these learners on the system, on the merSETA system on your side. For some weird reason, it was done incorrectly, and it has been hanging since from then. It changed, the CLO changed to Sanelise, and he has been trying to sort it out, but at some point I don't even get any response. The company was paid the first tranche, and then the rest was not paid to date. So how do we resolve this, or how can you help me to get this company to be paid off the rest of the other stuff? Because on their side, they did do everything. We sent through the external moderation report. Everything that we needed to do on our side was done. But for some weird reason, there's just a delay on the side of merSETA. How do we resolve this?
What I can do for you is to take the matter to Sipogas, who's the manager for both Matsiriso and Sanelise, to take the matter forward. So I share the contacts, drop me an email with your company levy number and the issue at hand, and then I'll ensure that I engage Sipogazi to have a run with it and resolve.
Okay, what's your email address?
It's on the chat. It's kenzoko@merseta.org.za.
Okay, all right. We'll send an email. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Stakeholders, in the absence of further questions, and again, as I've indicated to say, we're going to take the last few questions. Allow me to, on the presentation that we are sharing, you'll see there's a code there. and with the heading stakeholder feedback. For us to be able to do better, we'll definitely appreciate that we get feedback related to the session in terms of how you felt about it. There's about 5 questions with a rating, and the last one, you can write anything that you feel needs to be implemented. You don't have to give negative feedback to improve, but also if there are positives, you are way more than welcome to say, we appreciate the work that the colleagues are doing. And just unmute Bongi. Just unmute Bongi. The world is listening to you. So we'll definitely appreciate that you provide that feedback, and I think this will be an encouragement to the colleagues to do even better. As we approach the end of our session, colleagues, allow me to take this opportunity to, on behalf of the organization, the merSETA, to extend our sincere gratitude to all the participants, the employers, SMMEs, SDPs, SDFs, NGOs, for your time, for being part of this session, for your commitment, and for the active engagement that we had. And then we'll definitely learn out of those discussions, the pains that you as stakeholders are going through, and the question of how do we minimize or how do we remedy those pains so that they turn into gains.